talks here on stage. The first one is about a new player coming into oil and gas. INEOS is a global manufacturer of petrochemicals, but in 2015 they entered the stage of oil and gas, and in October 2017, INEOS bought Dong Energy's oil and gas licenses in Denmark, Norway, and United Kingdom. And Mr. Ron Coyle, who just arrived, welcome, is the CEO of INEOS Oil and Gas Denmark and has previously been the CEO of INEOS Shale. Welcome.
Thank you, nice to be here.
I'd like to talk to you about INEOS' business strategy and the ambitions on the Danish shelf. Maybe you can begin telling us why you bought Dong in the first place.
Yeah, I think that we bought Dong because we thought it was an attractive asset at our business at a reasonable price, similar to what we've done over the years with our other oil and gas investments, but also in chemicals. INEOS has grown by leaps and bounds over the last 20 years through acquisitions. Turned itself into, depending on how you count, either the third or fourth largest chemical company in the world. And considering that it started with one small plant in Antwerp back in 1998, it's an incredibly impressive growth record over the years. And oil and gas kind of has a lot of or has some similarities to it. In terms of it being an attractive market to get into, I think the price point for some of these businesses has been interesting. There's also a bit of a hedge to it. We don't like to really think about it like that, but in general, when oil prices are very high, it puts some pressure on chemical margins, and the opposite is true as well. So you've kind of got a nice built-in hedge if you're doing that. It's also a source of feedstocks for our chemical business. Maybe not directly in every single case, but there is that aspect to it as well. And over the years, after we went through the recession and the crisis in 2008, or the end of 2008, chemicals have been on a very strong run since about 2013, 2014. And chemical businesses are extremely expensive right now. They've had, let's say 5-6 years of incredibly strong returns, and so you're not getting a deal, so to say, in the chemical industry. And so for a variety of reasons, we decided that oil and gas was an attractive space for us.
Okay, so generally speaking, what do you see as the challenges for upstream? Not the Danish case, but generally.
Well, I mean, you've obviously got a lot of the issues that have been discussed today. You've got aging assets. I mean, we're not necessarily going headlong into brand new developments and that sort of thing. We're buying mature businesses. We're looking to develop those and we're looking to grow those. But in general, you've got mature businesses that that have their own set of challenges to them. There's decom liabilities and other things like that. So I'd say those are the major challenges.
And it goes for all over the world.
Yeah. That's right. At least the ones that we're in.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so the Danish perspective. I mean, as you say, a mature area. What do you think the perspectives are on the Danish shelf?
I'm still bullish. I mean, I've only been in the Danish business since June of this year, so I'm
well, it's a small country. So
no, still getting my arms around the business to be fair. But I'm bullish on Denmark. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. I mean, we've got several developments that we're excited about, and I also think we've seen a lot of changes, ourselves included, but others. As recent as last week, you're seeing companies and businesses change hands, and whenever there's somebody that's looking to get out, there are people that are looking to get in. So I think there's opportunity there.
Okay, because there might be people in the room asking themselves, what will INEOS do in Denmark, since you had a recent reduction, downsizing of in Denmark generally. So what was the reason behind that?
Yeah, I think that if you take a step back and you think about it from where they came from, Copenhagen was the centralized headquarters for a business that had operations in Denmark, but also in Norway, also in the UK. The INEOS philosophy is as much as possible. It doesn't mean it never happens, but as much as possible, you try to get away from these large corporate structures with matrices in terms of responsibilities. You try to make everything very clear. You put management teams in place for every one of the businesses. So, where there used to be one CEO sitting in Denmark, there's now, I'm sitting in Denmark, there's somebody sitting in Norway, there's somebody sitting in the UK. So we've kind of broken it up. So you had, we've set up standalone businesses in 2 other locations that used to be taken care of by the Copenhagen office. So that was one of the reasons. The other thing is we were trying to match the organization to our ambitions over the next few years. Without going into specific examples, you had teams of individuals that were in place to do something potentially in 2 or 3 years. And then it begs the obvious question, well, what are they going to do for 2 or 3 years? So I would say, while it may seem, in terms of numbers and things like that, it's a normal process that INEOS does anytime it acquires a business. You look at the organization and say, what do we need to run the base business? And then what are the projects or what are the developments that we want to do over time? And you try to make sure that you get it to the right level. Then we also look at other things besides manpower. You look at non-manpower fixed costs, and you say, are we spending the right amount of money? Does everybody have control over every area of spend? And you try to instill that discipline. And for us, it's less about the number. It's less about how much did you save. It's more about the mentality and getting people to think, do I need to spend that? Why do I need to spend it? Is it justified? And I think we've been really successful with that. So it's a culture change, but it's been a good one. It's been a difficult journey, but it's been a good one.
So let's talk a bit about the ambitions. What would you say are the preconditions? Is there one or more preconditions for further investment in Denmark, looking ahead 3, 4, 5 years?
No, I wouldn't say there are any preconditions. I think we're looking at it with a new set of eyes. There's been an incredible amount of work that has gone into a lot of these projects that we're working at. So it's not like we're reinventing the wheel. We're just coming into it and saying, let's walk through it line by line. Explain it to me. Why did you come to this conclusion? What assumptions have you made? I'm very excited about some of the development projects that we have. And I think I've spent, let's say, the last few months since I came into the business saying, I know we're going to do all these exciting things and they sound great, but we've got to get the base business correct. And once we have the base business set to where we're happy with it, our shareholders are happy with it, and we're not sacrificing anything on quality or safety and efficiency. In fact, we're improving on those metrics as well. Then we can start getting into what do we need to add? What do we need to do to grow this business? Because we obviously don't want to stand still.
So you don't have a wish list for the Danish government when it comes to general frames?
I would say I have some ideas, but with only a few months under my belt, I'm not sure I want to be the spokesman for the industry as to what's needed. I think if you look at we heard a little bit about the Tira redevelopment. I take on one hand, they've solved one issue, but not for the sector. They've solved it for kind of one particular issue. But I take it the other way as well. I take it as a really positive sign that they are willing to engage and willing to have discussions. Again, you've got, while I'm bullish about Denmark, and I think there are a lot of opportunities here, it's also a global marketplace, and you're competing for capital with other regions. So whether it's your fiscal regime or your regulatory regime, you've got to look at all of that and decide where's the best place to put your money. And I think we normally try across any of our businesses, you try to take more of a portfolio approach instead of saying, I'm going to put it all over here or all over there. You're really skewing the percentages, really. In essence, you want to invest everywhere.
So basically your investment is not depending on a specific political decision?
Not at the moment. No. I mean, I think those sort of discussions can always come up when you get to a certain point and you say, this project has legs, it looks good, we're thinking about it, we think we can justify it. At that point, sometimes you need a discussion with government to say, I need a few things just to check a few blocks to make sure that my assumptions are correct, or I need some help in this area, can you help me?
So before taking a few questions from the floor, I was just wondering whether you could develop a little bit or elaborate a bit on the development project you said, or projects you said looked interesting in Denmark.
Yeah.
Can you be more specific about that?
Well, I mean, I think there's still a lot of oil in the ground and oil and gas in the ground in the Danish North Sea. So no, we've got two very specific ones that are a little farther ahead than maybe some of the other ones, but they're both very attractive in terms of any of the metrics that I've seen, and we've looked at it. We're just testing all of those things, so it's just trying to find out what exactly is the right development concept for that. You know the oil's there, you know it can work. It's just what's the best way to do it. Sometimes it's less about engineering and geology. It's more commercial in nature. That this would work, but it would work better over here, and so maybe I need to have some other discussions on this side, and what are their concerns and that sort of thing. So no, we're marching ahead with those. We're going to, I think we've got, let's say, the housekeeping, the general housekeeping is now behind us, and now we're focused on growing the business.
Okay. Well, let's see if there is a question or two for INEOS strategy in Denmark. No?
That was too easy.
That was very easy. Well, Ron Coyle, there's nothing else I can do but say thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Yeah.